So, welcome back to Book It. And today we're still talking to Wayne Kuhn on his new book, Recharge. And we're going to move a little further into the book today, Wayne. So, welcome
Awesome.
back.
Thank you, Bud. Looking forward to it.
Well, you're really starting to get into some meaty issues here, and I thought, I'm going to start off talking about your next chapter, which starts off talking about, the state of mind that a person has as they're going through their day, and I wonder if you can just tell us a little more about what started you on that, what got you thinking about the state of mind.
Well, I think in the essence, I spoke a little, I guess last week or the week before, about kind of polarization, the law of polarity. There's either positive or negative, good or bad. That thing about two different aspects. And state of mind is essentially that. You can take almost any word and say it's either adding to or subtracting from, or any state of mind. For example, if I say, I don't want to go to the store today, I'm not feeling very well. So you're pulling back. And say, oh, well, let's go out and play, play in the snow today, make a snowman. So you're moving forward. So any decision you make, you're either making it moving forward or moving back. And so in state of mind, sometimes we get confused. There's a bit of confusion in that you either have a positive attitude or you have a negative attitude. But in a sense, there is no black and white about that. It's either you're moving forward into a higher mindset, or you're moving back based on the decisions you make at the time. And so you think about a decision you make that, if I want to be a successful realtor, and there's a workshop coming up that says, how to get more leads. Now, if I said, nah, I took that last year and really didn't do anything for me, you can see how I'm pulling back. If I said, gee, I should go take that again. I took it last year, but maybe there's a few things that I've missed. So I'm going to take it again. So I'm moving forward. So every decision is either moving forward or backward. So when you talk about state of mind, I say, what state of mind are you in? And always make an effort to move forward, because that's where the creativity is. That's where the positive energy is. That's where the growth is. You never learn anything by saying, nah, that's not mine. That's not me. No, I can't do that. I'd be silly doing that. Bud would laugh at me. That creates like an air of non-growth. So I don't know if that helps you answer that question.
It really does, and what gets me to thinking about that is if you're into an area of non-growth, one of the things I love in your book, you talk about how to shift your thoughts. And I wonder if you could expand on that a little bit. How do you go about getting somebody, or getting yourself even, to shift your thoughts to a better state of mind?
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I equate I look at my mind as almost like a muscle, where, like, if you want to grow, strong biceps, you have to go to the gym every day and work out, and work out. And I believe the mind is very similar in that this is something that we're working on constantly, and you want to constantly move towards that shifting. So if you start saying yes more often, if you start taking on challenges for more often, if you say, yes, I can, or I will try, or I am a good public speaker, or I am a good author, or I am a good real estate agent, or I am a good father, or I am a good husband. If you start moving ahead like that, all of a sudden you start shifting to a point where when you look at something, I think I use the equation, I'm not sure if I put it in the book, but the example of having a flat tire. When you go out to your car in the morning, the tire's flat, and you go, or do you go, oh, flat tire. I'll just take it down to Canadian Tire and they'll fix it up for me. Like, is this really a big deal to freak out over? You decide. And so the less, the less emotion you put into a negative situation, the less power it has over you. And you do this enough time, and all of a sudden life just flows, and you take the good and the bad at the same level of control, and it doesn't suck the energy out of you. So and you can do that with any situation. I think in the book I mentioned about a deal that went sour, or it could have went. It's all that mindset of worry. Do I sit and worry because I don't know? Or do I say, hey, I've done the best I can. I'm a good person. It will happen. And whatever happens is okay.
Hey, you talked about what if and how to get past that.
Definitely. We all struggle with that. And the only consolation I can say is the more you are conscious of it and the more you work at it, and then the better you are at it. Yeah, definitely.
Which brings me to another topic. A lot of people that I talk to in everyday life don't really think they have all that powerful a mind. But I get the impression that you don't agree, that you feel that people can have a powerful mind.
Definitely. The mind is the most powerful thing that we each have. I intentionally wrote this book at a simple level. And I did it because I wanted to relate to as many people as possible. And I don't say my crowd is simple, or the readers are simple, but I find that a lot of people that talk about mindset want to go deep into the chemistry, into the science, into these chemicals, do this, and the adrenaline and all the big fancy names of what's happening. And I guess what I'll say to you, Bud, is that when you go into your car, turn the key and drive away, did you take a course that taught you how the pistons go up and down and how much fluid is injected per second? And when you hit that gas pedal, do you know exactly what's happening to the linkage between your pedal? No, you don't know that. You just turn the key and away you go. And all I'm saying is the mind is the same way. I'm going to teach you what you can do with your mind. I'm not going to tell you how it works, but if I can teach you how to use it, then you can drive for miles, so to speak. So that's my premise, is that we each have a very powerful mind. Now I'm going to tell you what you can do with it. And you're not going to believe me for a while, and it's going to take some time to build up that belief. But all I can say is trust me, and with the examples that I give, we can develop it slowly.
I like the car analogy that, talking about how I get into my car. It makes me think of another part of that same chapter, which is the idea of maintenance. Excuse me. But I started thinking in terms of mind maintenance, or the maintenance of your mind, and what exactly that really means in terms of what you've written in your book.
Yeah, maintenance of the mind, and I'm developing stronger and stronger belief of this, is that we all need to. This is a machine, and it works day and night, and we're thinking, and sometimes we. I said, I was in the grocery store the other day, and I said to the cashier, "Wow, I admire these young moms." There was a lady ahead of me. She likely in her mid 30s, and she had a kid in one arm and one in the buggy and one in tow. And I thought, oh, and then on top of that, she had a whole cart full of groceries. And I wanted to go, how do you do this? And so life is so busy, and our mind has so much bombarding at us that we can't always use it. And so it's important in maintenance is to take time to rest your mind. And like I said in the book, my dad used to wipe his car off all the time. He cleaned it all the time, whether it was dirty or not. And mind has to be dealt the same way. And I'm learning the value of just quiet time, is to block out that external bombarding, the TV, the radio, the noises you hear. Is to block all that out and just sit quietly just with yourself. And some call it meditation, some call it prayer, some call it just being alone and shutting the mind down so it's not so busy. And what happens is that rejuvenates the mind so that you're open to creativity, you're open to maintaining the mind. And then when you kick it back into gear, it's fresh and new. And sometimes you have new ideas just out of that period. I think it's biblical. Didn't Jesus say, go to a room and sit quietly, just to quiet your mind and so that you rejuvenate. So, yeah, cool.
I think he went up on mountains and did that a lot too.
Yeah, we don't have any mountains around here, but yeah, you get the message. Yeah.
We can go over to Chicopee and sit on the top of the hill.
Chicopee would love if I called it a mountain. I know.
It's interesting though, because my mother-in-law passed away a few years ago from a brain tumor, and she was alert and active in her mind right up until about 3 days before that took her. And one of the ways she did that was every night she would play Scrabble. And she was actually pretty good at it. And she would come up with these great words, and she did it, she told me, to keep her mind active and to keep her mind learning and growing and perceiving. And I think you could almost use a gym analogy, I think, to maintain your mind, which is great, especially when you think about our role in this world. What we play, the role we play. I think it was Shakespeare who said, "All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players." And you actually go into that in that chapter in your book, and you talk about what role you're going to take on. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, the analogy is that life is a stage. This is your debut on stage, and the question that was asked of me years ago is, are you in the audience watching, or are you a character, or are you the lead role? And when you think about it, you want to be the lead role in your play, in your personal play. And I give an example of that, how you can build a character. Once you decide what you really want in life and what you really want to be, then you start to visualize this character, and you start to walk and you stand tall like this character would be. And you start believing and start building a belief. Like I use an example of what does a real estate agent, because I use realtors as an analogy because I spent 30 years in that field. And so I often look at realtors like, and I had one young fella, I said, what does a realtor, a successful top selling realtor look like, and what do they stand like? And so I got him standing up, like looking like, I said, stand like Superman, and just to build that mindset. Of course, the whole class is laughing, right? Everybody's laughing because it looked funny what I was doing, but inside him was building a confidence and power just in that moment, sort of thing. And so if you start to create a character in your mind of who you want to be, and you tell your mind every day and impress it on your mind every day, then soon you will become that person. And all of a sudden you will act and you will create energy that drives that character. So it's a very powerful exercise and very, very functional. Yeah.
How do you go about picking your character? I mean, how do you decide what you want to be like? I mean, like, what your lead character is going to be?
Well, that was a question. What do you really want in life is a big question. And sometimes it's a philosophical question. And sometimes it's a question that can be answered in 10 minutes and others take 10 years to answer it. But I think the the true answer is start going in directions. And if you go down the wrong road and say, oh, gee, I wanted to do this, but nah, I've lost my passion. Don't be afraid to change gears,
Yeah.
because we all make mistakes, and that's where we learn in doing that.
We're actually skipping ahead a little bit here
Oh,
because that's actually a theme of your next chapter, isn't it? Figuring out what a person really wants. And I love the fact that you've got this tied together. The chapter 5, which is about your mindset, actually flows into chapter 6, which we're going to talk about in our next episode.
great. Well, I look forward to getting back with you at some point in the future and doing that. That'd be
Well, it'll
awesome.
be tomorrow. Uh, we'll get together tomorrow again. But today
Oh,
we've been talking about Wayne's book, Recharge, and how that's been leading people onto a path towards success. And if you want to get Wayne's book, Recharge, you can get it on Amazon. I actually logged into Amazon over Christmas quite a bit. And one day I thought, I should check out how easy it is to find Wayne's book. So all I did was I typed in Wayne Kuhn, Kuhn, and Recharge, and boom, there it was. Your book
good,
popped
good.
up.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of clicking on that button and saying add to cart.
There you go. There you go.
We've been talking with Wayne Kuhn today about his book Recharge, and we'll see you again tomorrow. And you got to come back. Have a great
Okay. Thank you, bud. Take care.